Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I thought I would talk about the M3A2 Bradley because not only do I really enjoy playing this tank, at tier 2 of era 3 it's one of the two highest light tanks in the entire game. I'm also going to add a little bit extra to the end of this video, so make sure to stick around for that little bit just at the end. But before I jump into the Bradley and everything I want to talk about today, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button because that really does help my channel out. Alright, so, the Bradley. What is it, and is it worth getting, really? I guess that's what the question is, isn't it? Is it worth doing an entire Cold War grind for this tank? Because the grind of Cold War it's a long grind and it can be difficult at times, so is it even worth doing? Well, in-game, the Bradley is listed as a light tank, but in reality, it's a cavalry fighting vehicle. I don't know why. I don't know what it's got against horses, but if it's not careful, it's going to stir up trouble. Anyway, stock. Stock. This thing is very slow on the uptake. You really do feel the lack of power in the engine when climbing up hills, so that does need to be taken into account when you first start to play this thing. The gun isn't really anything to write home about either. It takes a full 30 seconds to load, and the only targets you'll be damaging are enemy light tanks. And really, for me, realistically, when you take that into account, one missile will do over 1,000 hit points of damage to a light tank. So you do have to call into question the purpose of a gun that does... I've used the gun so little, I don't even know how much damage it does per shot. I know the BMP3 does 15 hit points of damage per shot. That's awful. I think the Bradley might be 25, 30. I don't even know, but the damage you do is barely worth it when you think, I've got a missile that will do over 1,000 hit points of damage in one go. Bam, you know, that's a lot. That's a lot. You'd have to hit so many shots with the gun. It just doesn't seem like it's even worth using to me. I've almost fully unlocked my Bradley, and I think I've used the gun 4 times, maybe. The last time I used the gun was when I killed a BMP3 earlier this morning, and I only had the gun loaded because I'd run out of missiles. And if you look at my loadout here, I'm on the default, or the standard anti-tank guided missile. So when I run out of these, it defaults to the main gun. So that's the only reason I had the gun loaded. It was an accidental, you know, and it's fortunate it was a BMP3 because I wouldn't have penned a T-72. No way. No way in hell would I have... Wargaming, in my opinion, they really need to do something about this gun because it's 99% of the time it's useless. Now I'm sure that's probably a challenge to Slapperfish to prove me wrong on that one, because I know he likes using the gun, but I don't like using the gun. We'll see. Maybe I need to... now that I've actually got the upgraded gun, maybe I should try it. I've not even tried it, but yeah. For me, the gun is not really worth using. The missiles, however, that's where this tank does come into its own. With the gun upgrade that I've just purchased here for, I think it's 4.1 million, so you do need to grind out the silver for that. The missile travel speed goes from 296 meters per second to 329 meters per second. Excuse me. That's actually not too bad for lights in Cold War. The fastest missile travel time is 360 meters per second, and that goes to the BMP3. And in all fairness, the BMP3 does need that because the gun is shockingly bad. But yeah, the highest we've got in the game is 360 meters per second. And the Bradley's missile speed actually surprised me because when I first got the Bradley, I thought, oh my word, these missiles are slow. They're terrible. They're awful. The worst in the game. I thought, and in my head, I thought all other missiles were faster than this. And it's not just me that's thought this, because I've received messages from other players saying, you know, I like the Bradley, but these missiles are awful. So, you know, I thought it was just me initially, but it's not. It seems to be the general opinion that the Bradley missiles are terrible. But from the stats point of view, they say otherwise. I mean, the Russian tanks, for me, it could be that I feel that way because all I've done so far is play the Russian lights, and they do have faster missiles, but I think that's because their guns are terrible. Even worse than the Bradley. I mean, the BMP3 is just awful. It's terrible, and it's a bottom tier. It's tier 1 of Era 3. So that's why I've got the Bradley now. But anyway, the missiles on the Bradley, they're the second fastest in the game at 300. What was it? 329. Yeah, 329 meters per second. That's actually pretty good. That really is pretty good for the missiles in this game. The total reload for the 2-shot clip is roughly 20 seconds, and there's 10-second reload into clip time. So you can get 2 missiles off in 20 seconds, and that's 2,000. If you pen both, that's over 2,000 damage, which, you know, 2,000 damage every 20 seconds. That is pretty good. The higher tier T-72s are always going to be a pain to damage, though. That's just standard throughout the entirety of, well, Era 2 and Era 3, basically, isn't it? The T-72s are just real tough nuts to crack. The American Abrams, that's slightly different. They are certainly the softer targets within the game, I'll say that. If you see an Abrams, it's a much nicer target to be shooting at because you can almost guarantee 800 damage, 1,000 damage, figures like that. It's much nicer to be shooting at them. And right now, they are the only 2 nations in the game. So we'll just have to see how that balance changes as we've got. I think we're probably going to get Germans. The British are coming soon. We'll see how that changes as time goes on. Right, so that's the gun, maneuverability, concealment. Up to this point, concealment has really been what you use light tanks for. They're basically ghosts. You can't see them until you get proxy spotted. That's not what it's like with the Bradley. The Bradley's detection range, according to my garage stats, is 168 meters, so you can't really get away with hiding like you can in other light tanks such as the Sheridan, T92, and the not the Bulldog. Yeah, T92 and the Sheridan. Armadillo is another one. Mauler is another one. They're just invisible tanks, and they're very nice. Bradley's not quite like that, so it does have to be played a little bit more cautiously because you can't rely on being invisible all the time. Just to save you, basically, to get yourself out of trouble. So it does have to be played a little bit sensibly. Right, so that's my overview of the Bradley. It's a solid vehicle with decent hit points. I've got the 3,000 hit points at the moment, but that's because I haven't got the upgraded turret. That goes up to 3,200, which is pretty decent for a light tank in Era 3. It's a solid vehicle, and if you've got the BMP3, go for the Bradley afterwards, because it's just better in almost every way. More hit points, more missiles, more damage, better. Well, I say this, yes, believe it or not, the gun is better. But yeah, the Bradley is a very nice tank, and I like it a lot. There are some nuances to this thing, though. And I think in this game, we saw it earlier in this game actually, right at the beginning of the game. The missile pod. If I zoom out there, right here, you can see the missile pod is from the back side of the tank, it's on the left hand side. If you're peeking cover, to the, if you're peeking to the right side of cover, you have to pull out far enough so that the missile pod doesn't end up being stuck behind your cover. I have shot so many buildings and rocks like I did earlier in this game because while my aim reticle can see the tank, the missile pod can't. And I've shot buildings, rocks, you name it, just slammed into the side, and I've wasted a missile. So you do have to keep an eye on where you are, where the missile pod is in relation to the cover, because you will shoot rocks and buildings as a result. Another thing to note with the Bradley is, because the missile pod is relatively high up on the turret and to the side, you can't just sort of face hug and derp things with a missile like you can with the Sheridan. And I believe the BMP2 as well does this. You can't just go up to someone and blat them one with a missile at close range. Because the missile pod on the Bradley is off to the side, it sort of has to do a little wiggle to get on track with your aim when you initially fire it. So it's got a set travel distance that it needs to go before it's on target. And just get this last kill here. I was very proud of this game. Very proud of this game. Because I won it. And I was outnumbered. But yeah, the missile pod on the Bradley does mean it has to be played in a unique way. You do have to know how to play it. And those are the things that I've picked up on while playing the Bradley. And I would recommend that if you guys are playing the Bradley, you keep an eye on the same things as well, because you don't want to be caught out by this. You know, you don't want to be in a close fight and, you know, it's one-on-one. You can kill them with a missile, but you miss because you were too close. Stuff like that you do want to keep an eye on. Alright, so this game's come to an end. I did pretty well. And that also sums up my review, or overview, of the Bradley, I should say. So, we've got a little bit extra at the end here. Before signing off, I'd like to quickly state just how blown away I am by the staff at Wargaming for noticing my stream last night, and then the lead level designer commenting to answer my questions. I view this as real developer/player communication. It really has made me very happy to see this, so thank you very much, Brendan, for leaving your comment. I'm happy, so now I'd like to make one of you guys happy by doing a giveaway. All I want you to do is leave a comment with your gamertag, console, and choice of tank, and I will pick the winner during my live stream next Tuesday evening at 8 PM GMT time for the new season, the new Halloween season. I'll be live streaming that, and I'll be announcing the winner for this giveaway then. So be sure to tune into that one to find out who's won. Right, the tanks you can choose from are the Tier 8 King Tiger, Tier 8 Type 59-2, Tier 7 ISU 122S, and the Tier 6 Type 64. Of all those four, you can pick one that you want. Let me know what your pick is in your comment, and obviously I'll pick a comment, and that'll be the winner. Alright, if you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If not, a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I hope you're all still keeping safe, and I will see you out there.